Women throughout the Caribbean have been excelling in business, philanthropy, and personal development. At Abby's Power Lunch, our purpose is to showcase them in their own voice. This week, we sit down with Sonam Hasan. Sonam has always had a special gift with children, whether it's teaching kids in the community or volunteering her time to various orphanages growing up. She knew she had a gift of understanding kids and a love for teaching. She graduated with honors in psychology from York University and began a budding career as an autistic therapist, and is currently recognized in Guyana as perhaps the leading child development specialist and autistic therapist. Her goal is to ensure that each child in this country, irrespective of their economics, has access to the correct type of education to enrich their future. Stay tuned for a full conversation right after this. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another great episode of Abby's Power Lunch. I know that you're going to enjoy this episode because we've been waiting so long to do it.
I know, it's been a while.
Hi, Sonam, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
We've gushed about how incredible you are and everything that you're doing. And so we want, everybody to love you as much as we love you here on the show. So welcome and thank you for saying yes.
Wow, thank you so much for that opening.
You're welcome. We both are in the same field of psychology and we both are in the same field of business, so I can relate to a lot of what you're doing, but then you are more in depth into everything because psychology has been a part of your life for longer than for me, and now you're a therapist here in Guyana doing incredible work with children, which I applaud you for. Anybody who's working with children, it's like a savior for me. I really love that, so I applaud you for doing that. But before we get into all the psychology and all that you're doing, I would love to know the background story, love to know where it all started from. I know you grew up here in Guyana, but tell us a little bit about life growing up young. So
I guess for me, yes, you have to date back to my family history. So my family actually came from India. So apart when they had diaspora, when Pakistan and India were being separated, my family came across. So we are part of what you call the Sindhi culture. So my great-grandparents actually chose to come to Guyana.
Oh, wow.
So they started a business here out of anywhere in the world. They chose to come to Guyana. And then we had a business since the 1950s, I would say. So that's a part of growing up for me, was being attached to the store. And I grew up since 5, I would say, going to the store and learning, and it slowly becomes a part of your blood. And I went to school here, I went to the different levels and different schools, but then I always had this attachment with working with children. So I think it started around 16. I would say I started projects of teaching the orphans at Joshua Home, and teaching even my cousin's children and whoever I can. It was always inside to teach, and so that's where everything melded. The business and the love of children and the education was all there, was all forming at that time. And then when I went away when I was 19, I decided to go to study. My dad, of course, wanted me to do business, so I did a minor in entrepreneurship and small business management. So I did that, but I still wasn't fulfilled. So I studied in psychology, and I just found my way back to kids. My first interview, my first job was to be a therapist, and then my education went further. I did my training with the Geneva Center of Autism, and became an instructor therapist. So I worked for many years there with the center and then privately, until I took a little break to have kids of my own. And then I came back to Guyana.
Okay.
After I had my 2 little ones.
Oh, that's so sweet. You know, it's always interesting to sit with someone who has always had business a part of their life growing up, and sort of try to figure out how that shaped them.
Definitely.
Yeah, in terms of your parents and your grandparents. Let's talk about, you know, that influence that they had on you, being in the store from 6 years old and seeing your family, learning about your family history.
Well, I think in our culture from India is known as a business culture.
Okay.
So it's kind of inbred in us. Whether you're a boy, whether you're a girl, we grew up in businesses. That's what we do. And being a part of with the different generations, like my grandfather, my father, then myself in the store, you learn also how to communicate with your elders. You learn communicating with anyone, the person that's coming in to buy, versus going on my first buying trip with my dad. So your experiences in itself transcend school. It's something that you just can't get from just a degree or diploma, and it's something that carries with you, because you learn how to public speak, but you also learn how to speak to the layman man, and that's what connects you throughout to everyone. And being Guyanese too, I think you're also excited when you bring new products, you bring new ideas, you bring new items to Guyana. You feel excited, like, hey, you have our products. You know, and that's what we're really trying for in these, you know, last couple of years. We've been really trying to bring our family into our products in our store and make it more of a family business than just, oh, this is what the country needs. Okay, let's just bring it in. It's more about creating a brand, creating a part of us in every home. And I think that's where growing up in the store changes, and it changes your ideal and your thinking.
Yeah, because business has changed from the 1950s to now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and so how has your family been able to adapt to all of the changes that has happened?
Well, in the last year alone, I can say so much has changed. But what we try to do is incorporate ourselves. Recently, we're so excited. We just launched the Magic King brand. That's our own brand, created by us.
Wow.
We went and visited the factories. We picked our appliances and our TVs and everything. We picked those factories for Guyanese, for our people, that we know that these will benefit our people. Like, whether it be a fridge or a freezer, and by doing that, from seeing one end to all the way delivering it to your customer, or even switching out our own home appliances for the Magic King brand, you feel proud.
Yeah.
And that is the change in Guyana, like, versus you're just bringing any other brand. We're bringing things especially for the local market, and we've switched out all of our appliances. We only represent our own brand, and it's made such a difference, a big difference. If you haven't, you have to try.
I would definitely. That's a challenge for me to definitely try that. And you know, listening to what you said, you've incorporated all of the lessons learned in the store and the changes that your company has been able to accomplish. You know, I am extremely happy, and I'm definitely going to come down to the store and try. And guys, if you haven't already, you should definitely head down to the store. And all of that, you must have had mentors. You must have had people that worked closely with you to guide you and to help you to make all the decisions that you have. Let's talk about some of your mentors.
My mentors, well, from the business aspect, I would definitely have to say both my parents, because my dad also was from a business family, just like his father and his father. And my mom also, she worked in a business family, and when she moved to Guyana, especially from Singapore, I mean, that's what it was, right? We had our store and we had our family life. So for sure, in that part, they've been mentors, along with my husband, who's also in business. But from the educational standpoint, I think in Guyana, I would think my mentors would be Dr. Kelly McDeasy from the American School. She was the director there. She recently retired. And Dr. Brian O'Toole. So I think these two, like, amazing people have changed the fabric of education in Guyana. They have guided. They have always had an open door policy. Quick question, I can go in and, you know, does it make sense that I do this? Or should I do this certificate? Or should I work with this child? And that in itself, of that open door policy that you can ask a quick question, has made a tremendous impact, I think, in my life. More so navigating back in Guyana and learning the routes, who to ask. And
Yeah. It's always important to have mentors, and to have
Yes.
mentors that could, that you can go
Yes.
into at any time and say, this is what I'm dealing with, or this is what I need advice on.
Yes.
What next step should I take?
Definitely.
Okay, I'm happy that you had that. Coming back to Guyana, returning, making that decision to say, okay, I love Guyana, I'm going to come back. Not a lot of people do it. Why?
Funny enough, I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And my 2 children love Guyana.
Oh.
They love Guyana and they love their grandparents. And I feel Guyana is such a wholesome country that it's truly a village to raise a child. And for me, that village existed in Guyana. When I was in Toronto, I'm working, they're in school or daycare or whatever the case is. But I feel like they miss that random auntie or that uncle or that care. And when we first came to visit, they got that. And they join me at the store, they go out for walks with me, and they talk to everyone around it. And people take the time out to talk to them. Yeah. And that was my initial inkling, like, oh, maybe this would be a good move. And then my husband's not from Guyana, so it took a little time for him, and then he decided, it's exciting times in Guyana. He was actually born in Dubai.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he was actually born in Dubai and lived there for a while, and he saw the oil boom and what a country can transcend during the oil boom. He was there before the tall buildings and everything came up. So now it's nostalgic for him seeing Guyana at that same time.
At that stage.
That, okay, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. What you call a frontline therapist. So I work with children day to day. Then you have your supervisors and one. And I find that in the North American countries, it's very rigid and you have different levels. In Guyana, we don't have a fully tier 1 to the next tier fully organized yet, but it's becoming so. Okay. So there are services available, but not everybody has access to one. In terms of what I do, so I not only work with kids on one-on-one, but I also try to transition them to school, try to give parents advice on diet and how to deal what is caused by autism and what's just a normal 3-year-old being a 3-year-old. Yeah. All right? So, I mean, those little differences. And what I try to do is try to make myself accessible. So once I take on a client, you can WhatsApp me. You can WhatsApp me a video, or you can WhatsApp me something, because great technology is there. So now I can help devise these plans, or to empower that parent or that teacher or that person to say, you have the skills. Let me teach you. And that's really what the last year has been about, is trying to empowering others. And even those children, try to get them in school, and how do we get a program, what's their grading scheme, and it's working. Okay. It's really working, and everyone's on board. I must say, like, teachers are on board. It's just, we just have to try and get it more unified now. And even that, it takes time. A lot's going on in our country.
Yeah, it does. And for a lot of parents, because I still do sometimes from time to time child counseling, but I'm not so as versed as you in the autistic area, and a lot of parents don't have the kind of knowledge to understand what is a normal behavior for a 3-year-old and an autistic child. What are some of the little symptoms that we can parents can look for?
So one of the clear signs that most parents come to me, and anecdotally that they tell me, versus also a therapist saying, is that they don't give you eye contact. So it's very hard for them to look at you. And one of the first words is mom. Usually an autistic child takes a little bit longer to say, or don't say it at all. So they don't usually say mom or dad. They don't connect. You don't have that personal connection. Then walking, sometimes it's a problem. So usually you have your markers, which is why checking for those developmental markers are very important. So by 18 months, they're not walking yet, they're rolling, they're not interested, things don't keep them interested, like a toy. More than 2 minutes or 3 minutes, like, they're not fully engaged in it. Then I would get them checked out. And recently, just to add to the autism, recently I've seen more and more cases of digital addiction, which also can mimic signs of autism, but it's not.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm noticing that more and more, and I'd like to highlight that more in Guyana, that it's becoming an increasing problem, especially between that 2 to 3 age group when they're not in school yet. So, and generally the pediatricians in North America recommend not before 2, you don't have digital devices, but 2 to 3 when they have delayed talking and delayed motor movements. A lot of times I found here in, I would say about 4 cases already of digital addiction and not autism.
Yeah. That's a little bit concerning.
It is because you think you just have a numbers program, oh they're learning, or an ABC and they're learning, but actually it's their brain is not receiving the information in that same way. And of course I'll do a pamphlet and everything to highlight more of those key points, you know, of digital addiction. But it's something that parents do have to look out for nowadays.
Definitely. My 1.5-year-old, if he hears the little things on the YouTube or something, and he runs to it and he just stands there and he stares at the computer all the time, and I have to pull him away because I don't want this to be a part of his daily life. I want him to run and play and do other things outside of the computer or the television. So it's definitely something for us to think about.
And monitoring times, and but then I understand on the other side too that, I mean, parents work.
That too.
I mean, it's a reality of it. The only lucky part we have in Guyana is that we do have a little bit more help. You know, we can get our kids together. Okay, let's go to auntie's house or grandma's house, or you know, I feel it's easier here, or distances are shorter. You know, so we have to really try and work ways for our children. Create events like this year. I've seen amazing summer camps, amazing programs, and take advantage of it. I mean, let's try our best, you know, take advantage of those programs for our children.
Most definitely. And so man, just give us something to think about. I hope you're thinking about the way your children, especially at a younger age, view the stuff on YouTube and on television. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. I really hope that you enjoyed our first segment, as I have enjoyed getting to know Sonam and her history, her family history, how dynamic she is. You're a mixture of all countries. There's Dubai, there's where your mom came from, your dad came from, you were in Canada, you came back to Guyana.
Very diverse.
So it's a mixture of everything, and all of that has played such a great role in the woman that you are today, and all of the things that you're doing in Guyana, which I continue to say I'm very proud of, and I appreciate your commitment and your love, your passion for what you're doing here in Guyana. We've talked about the work that you're doing with children, and I really want to know, what's the plan for the rest of the year? What's your plans for the future in developing an autistic community or an autistic place for children who really need your help?
So right now, there's a diagnostic center set up, and there's step-by-step set up. And so from where I'll come in is where I'll have a child development center, or even like a forum, an online forum. So it's already in the works, in which we can bridge all the different centers and just an information outlet of what's available in Guyana and how to reach parents with that information. Because as much as I want to say only autism, I feel like we should look at it from a child development standpoint. Not only is autism an issue, it's also, we want to incorporate positive parenting, positive teaching, and just changing the way a little bit how we speak to children, how they eat, and you know, just to have a whole health and wellness as well. So that's one thing you can definitely look forward to, is having a Guyana-based information system set up. You know, like a parent might want to know what's a great snack to have in the afternoon. Right? So you have that, okay, here's what I can give my child to eat.
As opposed to what I do right now. Yes.
Like, yes, you can have anything, right? Or like, you know, a lot of times parents just send their kids in with the cookies and a drink right before therapy. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really work because we got a sugar high going with therapy. They didn't realize it.
Okay.
You know, they don't realize that A affects B. So we started changing it. Okay, maybe we can do a tennis roll with a glass of milk.
Yeah.
And that really helps their muscles moving by chewing. You know, it helps their mouth muscles, and you know, the bread sets the stomach a little bit longer. And that simple change, it's simple enough for parents. It's a Guyana-based food, right? Easy accessible, and it helps my therapy as well. So it helps my session run smoother. So these are simple changes that parents can make as well, even on a daily life.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm looking forward for that.
I'm excited to see the progress that you're going to make, and I'm going to be looking out for it. I'm even going to be coming along to the center, and you know, just to follow your journey so far.
And Give It Another Chance Foundation, they'll be doing their emotional intelligence, and I always believe that all their projects are amazing. Like anyone who can get involved in their projects, they definitely should, because they have the right attitude. And they have their Children's Day coming up in November. I'll be a part of that as well. You know, even not in a speaking way, even just marching or just learning, and you're never too old to learn.
That's true.
You know,
because emotional intelligence is something that, you know, up to last year through the Give Another Chance Foundation, it kind of sparked a lot of things in my mind to think about emotional intelligence a different way. It's not something that we readily think about here, especially in Guyana.
Yes, so definitely working with them would be on the agenda as well for next year.
Great. I look forward to following your journey as usual. I usually stalk you on Facebook, but then ask for another conversation. So this show is all about women, seeing other women who are strong, seeing other women who've been through stuff and overcome it. And you're here, and your life is so dynamic. You do a lot of things. You're a mom, you're into business, you're into therapy, and then you have your own personal life. So it's a lot of juggling that's involved in your day-to-day. I don't know what time you get up and what time you go to sleep, and if you sleep, and if your mind goes to different places when you sleep. There's a lot of juggling that's happening for you. How do you manage all of that?
When I sleep, I sleep. So I think the most important thing is having a support net. I have an amazing husband who supports all the different works. And just like I support all his different works. So we work together very well with our kids. So that's the most important thing. Second thing I think in Guyana, which has truly, truly helped me, is having a sisterhood. And finding women that support you. And each person that I interact with, I try to pick something of them that I really like, and I try to keep them in my life, and I think of them as charms on a bracelet, and every day I pick up one charm, and I look for them. And recently I met a mom that just came here 3 weeks ago I was driving by National Park, I saw her running, I'm like, wow, I would love to do this. 4 days later I met her, and she's like, oh, she goes running in the park. I'm like, I'm coming with you. She texted me, are you coming? I said, no. She texted me again, are you coming? I said no. The third time I couldn't refuse. I said yes, and I did it. Then I did it again, and that has impacted me too. Okay, get up, get fit. You talk about it now, let's do it. And now she's a charm on my bracelet.
I love that.
So every time, and that's one thing I love about being in Guyana, that you have women like yourself, women like the girls here. This is an all-girls team. Doing this, and I love that you all will be included tomorrow in my charm that I will build, right? And I want to encourage that to everyone, is look at your women as your own, and pick different things. The girl that tells you, hey, do your hair or do your makeup, she's not putting you down. She's saying, highlight something else about yourself.
Yes, I love that. And sisterhood is so high on my list of things. You know, this year too, for me, I've formed so much closer bonds with women, because it's not something that I had growing up, you know, close relationship with women. But this year I formed such close relationships with women that now I can say, hi Sonam, can you come on the show?
Yes, definitely.
You know, you say
and I look at you, and it's so easy to talk to you, because now I see you, I know you have kids, you have your little boys, a little boy that's like running around where before he wasn't, right? And now that's growing, and I'll see him on the march, and then now I'll see him on the other march, and that's what I love. is that in Guyana you have that. You have that connection with everyone that you don't need to see every day.
That's true.
But you know they'll be there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's important. You'll find
So
it.
true. So true. Sonam, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been really
amazing.
a pleasure
Thank
to get
you.
to know you so much more, and I feel like we're so much more connected now than we were
Definitely.
before. So thank you for being here on the show. Before we wrap up, what's your life mantra?
My life mantra has always been go hard or go home. I know it's simple. But whatever you do, do your best, give it your best, then relax, enjoy life.
Go hard or go home.
A simple one.
And I love it. I hope that you have all enjoyed our interview, our session, our conversation today. It's been very enlightening for me, and Sonam, I again thank you. Keep up what you're doing. Keep up the good
you
work.
so much.
Your investment is invaluable in Guyana, and I can't wait to follow all that you're going to be doing in the future. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
I hope that you've been inspired by the many stories told here this past half an hour. Abby's Power Lunch tells the story of women in business, philanthropy, and development in their own voice. We view this not just as another television show, but as a tool for mentoring and empowerment. We'd like to thank all of our producers in Georgetown, Guyana. We would also like to thank the owners, managers, and staff at the Java Cafe Bar for facilitating us. See you back here next week for another half an hour of inspiration.